What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brutal Planet Comics. I'm your host, Trey the Brute Daniels. What a glorious day it is, because it's another episode of the Indie Corner where I sit down with everybody from the MPN's community, writers, artists, directors, producers. Doesn't matter if you're in the game, I want to talk to you. And today we got ourselves a special guest. He is the creator of Apotheosis. I'm definitely going to get that wrong one time or another. Give it up, everybody, for Jordan Gunderson.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Excellent.
How are you?
Excellent. So, Jordan, first of all, I want to thank you for coming on to the show and everything, sharing all this great work with me. And I, of course, took a peek at all the stuff you got going on. And my goodness, it looks like quite an undertaking. But before we get into all this great stuff, let's talk about you a little bit. Who are you? Where'd you come from? How did we get here?
Yeah, so I mean, comics has been quite the journey for me. I kind of started, just kind of probably like everybody does. I was picking up comics, and then I was like, well, maybe I should try drawing this. So I was drawing comics of my friends in high school, and kind of just had it as a hobby. Would really love it. I went to school for multimedia design, and like while I was at school, I was still continuing to just draw my own comics. And I eventually learned about comic conventions. I didn't know they were a thing, and then I found out about them, and I was like, I should go and bring some of my stuff. So I ended up going to Wizard World Chicago, brought some artwork to share, and like it was just amazing because there was publishers and people like me also there, so I got to pick brains from editors and stuff like that. So I dropped off some samples and got critiques on things, and from there I was able to keep going. I was posting stuff, and finally editor from Zenescope actually saw my work in 2008 and asked me to be on a Grimm Fairy Tales.
Oh, nice.
And then I ended up doing a couple of those for a while, and then in 2011 I dropped off a sample pack with Aspen Comics at New York Comic Con, and then I got a call back, and they wanted me to be on for their series Executive Assistant Assassins. So wow. I drew that for a while. I got to work with Scott Lobdell there on the 4 Points and No World with him, and then I did my creator-owned book with them, which was called Dissension War Eternal. And then the pandemic happened. I was drawing a book for Aspen, a Soulfire project. And they put it on hiatus, and then when the comic book store shut down, they actually just canceled it. So I was kind of scrambling to figure out what to do with not having that on the plate. So I was friends with Tyler Kirkham, who's another artist in the industry, and he was getting together a group of people to bring their creator-owned projects in and have it be. Are you familiar with Ghost Machine?
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
So essentially, it was supposed to be like that. It was a bunch of creators coming in, bringing their creator-owned books. So it was called Artist Elite, and Ali Garza, Tyler Kirkham, Brett Booth, a bunch of artists all came in, and so we were releasing books through that. So that was kind of my pivot from when my book got canceled at Aspen to switching over to Artist Elite, and so that's where Apotheosis came in. That was kind of a book that I was working on the side. Had wrote a script for it originally that was actually nothing like what the final product is now, but it was a very good like starting off point and like figuring out what characters were going to be in there and stuff like that. So yeah, Artist Elite number 3 and number 5 came out. So those were parts 1 and 2 of Apotheosis. And then the company kind of ended up having some issues and dissolved, really. So we all took our creator-owned projects back. And that's why I'm going to Kickstarter with mine right now, is because I finished it. I added bonus pages to the first 2 projects and then completed it. So what you're getting on Kickstarter is the full storyline for the first arc of the story.
Wow, that's a heck of a run. That's a heck of a run. Wow. So you've been in the industry for quite some time. So yeah, you're no rookie in the game. So that's really, really good. But it's interesting. Your journey, like every time I talk to different folks, they always have these different type of journeys. So you start off primarily as just doing art, and primarily, just make sure I'm following art primarily.
Yeah, I mean, I was multimedia design was my major, so like there was graphic design, there was
Okay.
photography, there was website design, stuff
Gotcha.
like that. So
Gotcha.
I was. It's nice now. I get asked a lot, like, would you have liked to go specifically for comic art? And I
Mm.
actually, since I own my own business and do all this stuff, it's nice to have this variety of skills that I developed in college with that instead of just solely focusing on comic art as a thing. So.
Hey, that is really cool. So let's jump into this a little bit. Apotheosis. I said it right twice in a row. That's not going to happen a third time. So first of all, I'm just looking at I think one of your standard covers. The art is popping like firecrackers. So where did you come up with this design? You don't need to go into big spoilers or anything, but what
Sure.
is the basis of the story? Because the art alone is already getting me fired up.
Well, thanks. Yeah, so it kind of goes back. I don't know if you are familiar with this History Channel series, Ancient Aliens,
I
where it
know I've
talks
heard of
about.
it. I
Okay, so
remember
this
it being it was a conspiracy episode like show kind of thing.
it's a long running series, but it basically goes into unexplainable monuments and that sort of thing from ancient stuff from the past. So I got really into that, and it kind of was one of those things where I started thinking about it as a story that I could tell in comics. And so that's essentially, and I think it was in 2012 that I
Okay.
ended up writing this precursor story to it. And when I first wrote it, it was actually following the main antagonist first, and I ended up switching it all up. And now in Apotheosis, currently we're following the main character Mira Bright, and she is a war journalist. And so her parents, she comes from her family has had a lot of loss. So the reason that I chose her as a war journalist is she's basically her mom passed away when she was born. Her dad died in a mysterious event when she was 5,
Mm.
and so she's trying to fill this loss in her life. And she does that by going to very dangerous places as a war journalist and talk about it, because that helps her fill the void in her life that she's developed. And so it's kind of like one of those, like slightly daredevilish. So she's kind
Yeah.
of without fear.
Yeah.
And this is a way that she can keep progressing and moving on. And in the story, we see her go to Egypt, and there's a terrorist uprising going on there, and she's supposed to be reporting on that. And that's kind of when things go crazy for her, and the story really kicks off.
Gotcha. So you're playing with um the idea of either supernatural forces or alien forces, like kind of like
Primarily
both.
alien. Yes, I mean the definition of apotheosis is like deification of oneself, or to reach the highest point of yourself. So yeah, the series is kind of going into her Mira's journey in finding her higher self and becoming something more than human that that the series is going to explore as we go on.
Interesting. And I'm so glad that you dropped that definition, because God knows I didn't know what that word meant. So
Yep, yeah. So it's an old Latin term. So
okay. All right. Well, that sounds really, really good and intriguing. So let's jump right into your Kickstarter real quick and let's see what's going on. Okay, checking out the Kickstarter here. Wow, oh wow, you're already smashing that goal. I'm so very, very happy to see that. That is tremendous. And with still some days to go, which is always amazing. So just perusing it a little bit, like I mentioned earlier, the art is popping. So did you do all the internal pages yourself, or did you team up for those?
Yep. No, it's all drawn and written by me. I did so the story is essentially told in chapters.
Okay.
So there's 3 chapters in it, and so the first 2 chapters were colored by Cece De La Cruz.
Okay.
And then she ended up getting hired by Marvel, so her schedule got really tied up, so she couldn't do the final chapter. So I was able to get Chuck Michael Obach on for that, and which is cool because it's not. He replicated the style quite well, but it's not so jarring as like just you flip one page and all of a sudden you're into a different thing. It's the end of a chapter, and then in the new chapter you're on to his colors for the book. But
Now, and that's
yeah, so
really
it's
smart.
30,
That's a
32
good
pages. And yeah, all penciled by me. You're getting some like bonus content in there at the end as well, some character profiles and behind the scenes stuff.
And I'm looking at a couple of these characters. I see a lot of them are Egyptian inspired, I would assume.
Yep.
I'm seeing like individuals like a moon
Horus and
god or something to that
Osiris.
nature. And I mean, look, I think this looks really, really tremendous, and looks like you had quite the team helping you. So who else helped you on this magnificent opus?
Yeah, so we, like I said, we have CC De La Cruz and Chuck Obach for colors. Zen, he's titan in the industry, he does a ton of lettering, so he's helping me with that. Then we have Sia Ohm, Tyler Kirkham, V. Ken Marion, and Cameron Johnson all on the guest covers. So that was really cool. I'm friends with all those guys, and it was awesome to have them on the project and see what they came up with for their covers.
Well, yeah, and I'm looking at all these bonus covers and stuff. They all look really, really tremendous, and I love seeing the different art styles when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to these variant covers, because it always brings something else to the table. It always makes you think like, oh, what was going through their mind when they crafted this
Yeah, for
particular
sure.
cover and stuff. So it gives a lot to behold. So this is really, really good, and this is pretty dope. And I'm looking at the stretch goals that you're looking at. Everybody loves a bookmark. Period.
That's right. Yep.
Everybody loves a bookmark. Every time I do an event, I always make custom bookmarks every single time, and they always go. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's deeply programmed in all our brains.
Something
Bookmarks all
like that.
day.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Stickers, mini prints, postcards. Like y'all are cooking with this thing here. Y'all are cooking. Yeah, all cylinders are
Yeah.
firing off, and you still got some days to go, and it's already smashing it. You guys are doing fan freaking tastic. I am really, really impressed with what you guys are doing here.
Thank you.
So here's the real question, Jordan. Here's the kicker. How far is Apotheosis going to go? So we know that this is number one, I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to assume. So how long is this arc going? Are we doing a 6-issue arc, 8-issue arc? What are we doing?
I'm actually not even really sure. I
Oh,
wanted to run the Kickstarter and see kind of what the engagement was on
okay.
it to plan, but I mean it's a story I want to keep telling. I don't have a specific ending right now in mind. I'm still writing the next arc, so I would definitely. In the first arc, we're with Mira. In the second arc, I kind of want to be. There's another character that I'm introducing, so might switch over to that. But yeah, there's a ton of ideas in my head and a ton of things that I want to accomplish storytelling wise. So I don't really see a specific ending,
Okay.
but just kind of I'm gonna go as the story goes and kind of see where it takes me. But
Well, that's tremendous. And seeing that you're already getting major backing, people are already familiar with your work, you've been in the game for quite some time. I think you could really do a lot of good with this run here, and with a crack team that you put together and a very unique story. Yeah, this is going to be definitely something that I think has some legitimate staying power, and to see that this is a story that you're passionate about, which
yeah,
makes all the difference in the world for me as well. It's a
yeah,
story that you want to tell.
for sure. And it was one of those things where my first creator-owned book, Dissension War Eternal, I had not written anything before, so I had a friend help me write that. So I kind of crafted the origin and design of the story, and then he helped with like dialogue and writing of the comic process in that. But in this one, I felt a lot more comfortable doing
Mm,
it myself.
mm.
So yeah, it's been a process, but I really love it, and diving in and like storytelling is just one of those things that I love to do. And yeah, so I'm super pumped that the project's already
Yeah.
funded and completed, and hopefully things keep going up from here and we can finish strong.
Super pumped is the exact words I was going to use. My goodness, Jordan. Look, before we wrap up, look. First of all, thank you so much for reaching out to me.
Yeah,
For just to talk about this great project, which is amazing. I always love this. It's the best part of the job. Even as a creator myself, sometimes it's I'm always skeptical sometimes going on to podcasts sharing my work, because I know you're unveiling yourself to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really do appreciate it. Even you being a big time veteran, I know sometimes it still gets in there sometimes. So I want to thank you so very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Jordan, so we got your Kickstarter. Where else can folks reach you?
Yeah, so I'm on kind of all the normal socials, on Facebook at Art of Jordan Gunderson, on Instagram at Jordan Gunderson Illustration, and then I have a Etsy site, I believe that's also Jordan Gunderson Illustration, and an ArtStation page that you can kind of scroll through the gallery of everything. But yeah, if you just type in my name, you'll find into a search engine, you'll find all that stuff.
I like that. That makes it easy. So everybody check out, I'm going to say it right, Apotheosis. Got all in one clean sweep. I believe the Kickstarter in the description section below. Definitely show your support for this great work and follow Jordan on all his great social media platforms. I believe those in the description section below as well. And now I'm out of focus, so whatever, it doesn't matter. Who am I? I'm Dre, the Brute Dance. Follow me on all my dope social media platforms as well. I'm putting them right under my face. They're not there yet, but they will be. At TheBrute00 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I feel like being silly on TikTok. And my voice is going downtown. So Jordan, once again, I want to thank you so very much for coming on to the show.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, the pleasure was all mine. Thank you. And all you all have been fan-freaking-tastic, and I'll catch you all next time.